Hey guys, today we're going to be showing you how to catch spawning crappie. Several different methods. Like and subscribe. Super aggressive.
Slabbing. I need a live scope in my life. I need a live scope in my life.
Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Me and my son Mike's fishing Caddo Lake today, and we're going to be showing you several different methods of how we're catching some shallow water crappie. The last several weeks, as you can see, the water level is raised to a level where it's created a lot of current. So basically what we've done, we've went to the river channel right north of Caddo Lake to try to get out of the current. Most of the times when you see these crappie that we're catching, a lot of times they're inside the main river channel. However, when the water increases and current increases inside that channel, what they'll do, they'll start looking for what we call current breaks. So anything that can get these crappie out of current, they're going to be looking for, whether it's behind a large rock, any type of structure, or any type of coves off the main river channel. So don't get discouraged when your local fisheries, the water increases and current increases like that. Get on your map and start looking for different current breaks. Whenever you do get inside those current breaks where you see the currents kind of subsiding, start looking for your bait fish, guys. Anytime you start seeing bait fish, your crappie's not far behind. Anything that crappie hate worse than current is no food, so they're going to stay real close to a food source. As you can see, me and my son Mike, we've been kind of sniping these crappie one by one, and right now we're in about 4 foot of water, give or take, and we're working the edges of these. Well, I guess they're just little streams that actually feed the river, and they're right off the edge of these streams, and you can see them kind of going in and out through the main stream up to shallower water. And these bigger crappie are moving shallower and shallower right now, and we're just trying to catch them moving. Something that we did notice during this time is how quick they're moving. This is day 2. We decided to change it up just a little bit on day 2. And as you can see throughout the video, we're fixing to get on the fish a whole lot better than we did day 1. That first day, I think we spent most of the day just kind of figuring them out and what exactly they were doing and what exactly they were wanting. And we still caught some pretty decent fish, but nothing like we're going to catch today. And something that we discussed that night before is we might have to change our tactic up just a little bit. The water seems to be a little dirtier today, real muddy, so we end up going to a brighter jig head, brighter jig itself. Tried a lot of chartreuse, blue and chartreuse, red and chartreuse, orange and chartreuse, anything that really showed a lot of pop. And same thing, that happened yesterday happened today. We noticed the fish were moving extremely fast, a lot faster than you'd normally see crappie move. So by the time we would get good boat position on these crappie we're trying to snipe, they had moved in front of or behind us, and it just created a really challenging situation as far as staying on them. You can see me right here pitch to one, let it hit the bottom. I'm going to pick it up just a little bit right here, putting it right in front of his face, and I got him. Real decent crappie. All these are pretty good eaters. However, we're not really going for eater fish. We're really going for bigger crappie. We've got a tournament coming up, and we're basically practicing sniping these fish and trying to get on bigger fish. There's several piles that we could actually go out and limit out, but we don't want to do that today. We're just trying to really go after bigger slabs. And Michael's on one again. He's kind of in that same school that he was in yesterday. There was a few good crappie inside that school, and we're just kind of targeting them. He's gonna have a little fun with me. He's gonna try to hit me in the head with his fish. I think he missed, but we both got fish right now, and so excited when you take your son fishing and both having a good time. And there's me, got two back to back, and we're excited. The way that we're seeing these fish move, though, we've decided to change our tactics up just a little bit. So he slips on a slip bobber once again, and pulls a few more in. He does pretty decent. Some of those aren't on film actually, but still having a good time either way. You can see Mike backing the trolling motor off that pile because they're very skittish. Been staying about 30 feet off these little piles since it's so shallow. And right now we're actually talking about changing tactics up and maybe spider rigging this flat. Something that you don't see very often is spider rigging on spawning crappie. Most of the time when you think about spawning crappie, it's up in the trees, and a lot of times that is the case. But however, if you could ever get used to the mentality of hey, these crappie don't just spawn inside the trees, but they spawn in big flat areas. So anything over big creek channels or rivers, if you could find flats that hold bait fish nearby, you pretty much rest assured that they're going to be holding crappie. Looking on the Livescope, we had probably 100 fish that day, really good sized fish that would actually come and look at the bait and not commit. Follow it all the way up to the surface and then just go right back down. So as aggressive as they were with some baits versus others, we decided to try to narrow it down. So right here you can see us getting all of our spider rig equipment out. We're using B&M 12-foot poles. We're going to be doing a double jig rig. So we're getting all of our poles ready right now, getting everything set up. And we've got one pole out. As you can see, it's very apparent that we've made the right decision because we're setting up and I got a fish on right now. And they're moving so fast that it was just going to be easier for us, instead of sniping with Livescope, to set our poles out, get our right depth, and try to get them that way. And we still like spider rigging. I know a lot of people don't spider rig anymore, but over these flats like this with spawning crappie, I think it's a very productive tool to use. Because if you say, I'm just going to go fish brush piles today, or I'm going to just snipe today, then if you're not well versatile in all ways of catching it, you're going to catch a lot less crappie, and they're so much different from day to day. Right here you can see Michael fixing to snatch one up on his right side. If you look real close, you can see the rod tip kind of bounce just a little bit. I say bounce, it went up. And how to use a net. These B&M rods do a very good job getting them out of the water, but these fish that's moving in and out were just so big we didn't want to take a chance of losing them. So we netted all of our fish. So this one right here bit on a pure chartreuse jig head, and seemed like we caught several off that one, and had another bite right there. And they've actually kind of turned on where they're very aggressive right now. And we're just trolling around and just watching rod tips. I think Michael had all the luck today because most of the fish we caught were on his side. So I was his net man, and very, very, very happy to be his net man though. Here I am, probably not doing such a good job trying to net these fish. I'm kind of chasing them. But we definitely have got on the slabs. We're running these jigs. One's about 10 inches off the bottom. The other one's about 1.5 feet off the bottom, maybe 2 feet off the bottom. Majority of our bites were on the top jig, so we ended up reeling them up a little higher in the water column, and it seemed like we started getting a little more bites. But you can still see on the Livescope that some would come and look and then just leave. But for the most part, some of them just couldn't help themselves, so they would take a bite out, and the fight was on. It was really fun catching these fish this way. So, they're so aggressive on these beds that some of the times they just bring that rod just smooth on around, and which is really fun. Other times you could miss just a bump and not see it and miss that fish. But today it was not that case. See that tip go down pretty quick. I've seen a good hook set in that, so I told Mike just go ahead and boat flip him in here. I wish that I could swing that fish around that well, but that was a pure accident. Those rods are so flimsy at the top. It's kind of hard to boat flip and control exactly how they're moving. It's a very, very pretty fish right there. We ended up catching over a limit this day. However, they're not all on video. We got most of the big ones on, and I'd say spider rigging though, it's probably one of the most stressful, pleasurable things that you can do. When you're having a good time, you're having a good time. However, if you make a mess, you just make a mess. I thought this was a 3-pound crappie right here, and I couldn't get the net quick enough. I was telling Michael, don't lose him. However, he told me he had a good hook set, and still didn't want to take a chance trying to boat flip him. He was such a pretty fish that I broke the net out. So you can't see him right now, but he's hollering. He's having a good time. And this flat's just full of fish like this. And we ended up going to several other parts of the river and found flats, and were able to find the same thing. This place in particular where we're at right here, I believe it was right at 3.5 feet of water, maybe just a little less. And it seemed like the really big ones were really shallow and probably more aggressive than any of the other ones. So we didn't really get hung up, but we had to be very cognitive of our poles and make sure that we wasn't snagged up. But anywho, this is going to be the end of this video, guys. I really appreciate you watching. You can do me a favor, like and subscribe. It's going to help us do some more videos, and there's more to come. So thank you. I hope you enjoyed this video.